Launch in 3, 2, 1. You have suffered minor head trauma. This is considered an optimal outcome. This PDA has now rebooted in emergency mode with one directive: to keep you alive on an alien world. Please refer to the databank for detailed survival advice. Good luck.
Yeah, welcome back to Subnautica, and that was the intro of the actual gameplay with the story. I'm not actually sure if you can play anything without the story, except in the freedom mode. There are, I guess, 4 different modes. Hardcore mode, where you just have 1 life, then the normal mode with also, you know, food and water being important. And then also the more freely mode, and then also a complete god mode, so to speak. So basically those are the 4 rough game modes. So we got actually out of the Aurora alive, and it seems like we're just one of a handful of survivors. And this is the very beginning, and let's see what this is. We have here a PDA, which is always pretty funny. And this is the Aurora. A rough shape, to be honest. That needs a while to polish out, I guess. Yeah, this is a look around. It's basically a water world from what we can see here. And there are 2 clouds. And we jump in. And now it is important to gather resources to secure our survivability. So this is the Peeper, and they will play a not insignificant role in the story part. Not initially, and well, they are part of the story, let's put it that way. They're pretty hard to catch, those little buggers. They're quite fast, and you always need to wait for them to make a turn. And then we also have those limestones.
Essential component of all powered equipment. Your probability of survival has just increased to unlikely, but plausible.
Yeah.
Creature discovered.
That's the favorite from Max, I guess. By the way, Max TV brought me to Subnautica like in early access. When I watched the video, and I was like, looks good. And yeah, you can see we need to collect resources to get some basic tools for survivability, like the normal knife, some oxygen tanks and so forth, and we try to collect stuff. Now, we are currently in the shallow waters, and it goes deep. It goes very, very deep, and yeah. We also now are near the kelp forest, and then we can also collect some stuff. This yellow glowing stuff are the Creepvine seed clusters, and they are important.
New blueprint acquired.
So if you collect stuff for the very first time, you get this message basically: salt deposits,
Creature discovered.
another hoverfish, and so forth. And we're just collecting stuff to gather some food and so forth. And you need then to go back to the life pod, and there you can then create stuff. So what am I after in Subnautica?
Grows in unusually distinct and diverse ecological biomes. Further study recommended.
That's one part of the storyline, because a lot of the biomes are very close clustered together. It seems like this is the map, and it's like 3-4 kilometers by 4 kilometers, something like this. But you might be astonished by how big such a rather small map can really work, because sometimes you just can see a few meters in front of you. So I'm collecting stuff here as I go along. This is a new playthrough, and yeah, no cuts initially, so maybe I'll show it for you for like half an hour so you can see what I'm doing here. There are basic resources like copper, and also like those metal salvage that you can refine to titanium, which is also very important, which you need in huge amounts, but you come across it in huge amounts. So it's kind of, whenever you have a free slot, collect it. And yeah, also I am here going with very unique approaches, and the bladderfish
May have unexpected applications. Utilizing alien resources is a proven survival strategy.
yeah, we will see how this works out. So I need some water, and there are a few ways to come across water. The first one is to fabricate the bladderfish into water, as we'll just see in a moment. And here I will refine some titanium at first, and with this fabricator we can do a lot of stuff. I'm just gathering here stuff for the near future, stuff that I know that I need, and refining titanium again and again. So about water, it's quite essential. So we can use some bladderfish, of course, but there are not that many swimming around to really secure your survivability with this. Another part is to use salt deposits and
Small organisms while disposing of the skeletal structure, bodily fluids, and internal organs, thus rendering them safe for human consumption.
yeah. One way is to cook them, so you immediately have to eat them before they go bad.
Consider disguising the flavor of unsavory meats with salt or locally sourced herbs and spices. Weapons were removed from standard survival blueprints following the massacre on Abraxas Prime. The knife remains the only exception.
So we have done good so far.
Acquired. The fabricator draws from available data to provide environment-appropriate equipment, using locally available materials. For your safety, this setting cannot be overridden.
Yeah, that's one of the good things that I think is very fun to play through, that you have no dedicated weapons. Later on you might come across things that look like weapons and things that you can use as weapons, but they have a different main purpose.
New blueprint acquired.
So here I'm getting rid of stuff, and yeah, let's see how it goes from there on. And I want to come across more stuff. So my initial goals are to get the oxygen tank, which I got, then also a knife, which I now got, and from there on you need to secure your transportation with a sea glide, later on a sea moth. After that, for mining purposes mainly, but also deep exploration, the prawn suit, and for having a mobile base, which is very, very useful, also the submarine called the Cyclops. But you need to first come across certain stuff like this, sea glide fragments, that you need to scan, and the scanner is again one of those main tools for which you need resources. There are some rather rare resources such as silver. Copper is, well, you need huge amounts of copper, and in the first playthrough copper was relatively rare. It also depends where you spawn, like you spawn always in the same vicinity. And we are also here exploring some mini caves, and they are pretty dangerous to a certain degree, but again we need a major resource, which is copper. Yeah, it just basically explained it for me right there. The PDA is really helpful actually for beginners. One or two of those sulfurs secure your initial needs for the repair tool, which you need within the Aurora later on, and also here on the life pods and so forth. So let's see what we can do. Let's get some stuff, some initial important stuff. Yeah, the scanner, we need it. It's very, very important to come across the blueprints. I don't actually need any sort of commentary because the PDA explains it for all of us. So, and we also get the repair tool. So this is very, very important to actually repair some basic stuff. I also fabricate some rubber to keep your inventory clean and so forth. As a bit of micromanagement, I guess, and it's not the worst to always check it. So a little bit of spoiler, you need to actually ouch. You need to build a base, and one of the purposes for a base is to get yeah, I'm just repairing my life pod, checking messages. It's a bit of a German message, you know, all the lines. Okay, bad jokes aside, a bit of micromanaging here. I could cut it out, but this is also part of the gameplay, that you need to know what you need and you don't need and so forth. And initially you need a lot of space in your inventory to collect all the important stuff. There is stuff lying around like those acid mushrooms.
Trend is consistent with damage to the Aurora's drive core sustained during planet fall.
Yeah. So those giant coral tubes are also a way to further refine some water. So salt and those giant coral tubes result in bleach, and from this bleach you get actually not insignificant amounts of water. So you don't need to fabricate all those poor bladder fishes. And one tip is scan everything. Scan everything. So you can see even in those giant coral tubes there is a lot of resources, a lot of quartz which you need mainly for base building, for some glass to look out of the base, which is a cosmetic aspect, I'd say. It's not really essential. Yeah, there is one part that I need to point out, and that is always look at your oxygen, and that was pretty close. It already began to fade out, but I never was in real danger, was I? So, already passing like the first 15 minutes of the gameplay. Those rabbit rays, I like them. I like all the stuff that doesn't kill me, which is not all that much. And we continue to scan. It is a bit boring, and you can read through all the aspects in your PDA. You can spend literally hours reading through stuff in the PDA. Again, I've played through it multiple times. Just finished one of the playthroughs actually. Because before that, the storyline was not really finished, like when I played it through it the first few times, like 1.5 years, 2 years, I don't actually quite remember, but it was always nice. Picking up stuff as I just come across it, and if you just collect it with your first swim throughs, it's actually not that unimportant, because you know, you just can also take out stuff from your inventory without actually putting it into a save slot. Whoa, what's that? Well, I know what it is. It's one of those what's the name of it? I can't actually quite remember some of the animals. I just know how to effectively ignore them. And yeah, there is a lot of copper, and copper is essential for batteries, for copper wire, for some electronic stuff, and it's pretty precious for me because I usually try to produce a lot of the stuff early on. Yeah, some of the stalkers, they make an awful sound. They are highly annoying, but you also need them for some stalker tooth, for emerald glass, I think it's called, later on. And because I don't actually find too many salt deposits, which are pretty precious, I cannot really make water or make some cured food, which is good for some long-term transportation or exploration missions. Because in the beginning you don't have the laser knife or the heated knife where you can just cut fish and they will cook right in the water, which is very good. So yeah, I need to make stuff like this as I go along. The beginning is a bit exhausting, to be honest, but yeah, another thing is the fabricator. There's so much stuff, sometimes I just, how to say it, get lost with all the stuff that I want to do, that I need to do. I don't find the resources, I get sidetracked, and sidetracking is an issue for me in this game. Like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, ooh, shiny new stuff here and there and so forth. And I often just look at the stuff, I write stuff down that I need with a sheet of paper and a pencil, of course, what I need. Then I try to get stuff and then I get sidetracked again, you know, the usual stuff. It's, yeah. And here I'm doing something essential. The precious stuff gets here in this storage here within the life pod, and then I go out and then I try to find a safe stuff where I can actually deploy the stuff without it getting lost. And this coral tube looks pretty nice for a lot of the mass stuff, like the crystals and also the titanium. And voila, I have a lot of storage space for free in a coral tube, and have it available very soon when I need it. So this is kind of a little trick. I am really wondering for what I need a fire extinguisher underwater. I mean, yeah. I don't handle with pyrophoric stuff here. And now we can actually scan stuff that is important, like the sea glide fragment, which is very important. And you could see I need to scan multiple stuff of it. In this case, I need to scan 2 of the fragments to get access to the blueprint. And yeah, so let's scan the boomerang, pick up some metal deposits. There is actually one little trick, but I need to come across the blueprint of it again, and that is the gravity trap, and that attracts stuff. Yeah, silver is precious as all hell. You also can collect other resources like gold, but gold, I think, yeah, it's also precious for some of the upgrades, but I think silver is much more used for the wiring kit and other upgrades. So silver is precious as all hell. And maybe you can hear it in the background, but there is some thermal activity, and those gasopods are highly dangerous. They have this defensive system of launching those this gas. Ooh, and you must not get caught in this, because that's a quick death. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why I don't really play this in hardcore survival mode. And again, we are near a cave, and those caves contain huge amount of precious resources, those limestone with all the copper and stuff. At the moment it doesn't really look like I need it too much, but once I begin to build a base, once I begin to upgrade stuff, or build other stuff like transportation systems, sea glides, sea moth and so forth, you need quite a lot of the stuff. So collecting it early on, to look around, to look at which precise location you are spawned, is very important. So lead and gold and another lead. This is important for some
30 seconds.
base, for the base of the base, so to speak. And yeah, that's pretty clutch actually, if I get out of this with just 15 seconds remaining. So we need to get faster a lot. Initially this is really an issue. Later on you rarely feel it when you have the ultra high capacity lightweight oxygen tank, and you also have the rebreather for greater depths beyond 100 meters, where the efficiency of your gas tanks is also reduced effectively, and you get faster. With the sea moth you can actually recharge your oxygen underwater, so you barely have to get to the oxygen at all, if any more in the gameplay. There are certain exceptions with the storyline, but I don't want to spoil it right there. So we go between the caves and just collecting stuff. It's a bit boring at the moment, but to collect some precious resources is important. Yeah, and nothing that I could do there. They just launch themselves at you and explode. They're basically on suicide. Right corner you can see this message symbol. I got another message. So back to the life pod, topping off the oxygen, and let's see how it goes. So those are the first 20 minutes of gameplay, just collecting stuff, just getting used to the stuff.
This is Life Pod 3, uploading our coordinates. We're plugging some holes in our emergency sea glide, so if we're late for the rendezvous, don't panic. Also, don't go home without us. Seriously. 3 out.
Signal location uploaded to PDA.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm going over stuff too quickly in the gameplay. The high capacity O2 tank is really important, and we can see now we have much more oxygen. Again, this is important for our range underwater, and in conjunction with the sea glide we can travel much bigger distances. The sea glide is a piece of equipment that I will use till the end of the playthrough basically, and it's really important for the great maneuverability range, so to speak. So with the sea moth you have to get out of the vehicle. I mean, it just takes seconds, but in the long run it can get a bit exhausting. So again, topping off some of the resources and just micromanaging a lot. Basically what you need in the beginning is the survival knife, the repair tool, the scanner is very important, the oxygen tank, and from there on you can make bigger steps for exploration. You need to come across the blueprints, go into various different directions, make yourself some markings, and scan everything. That's the basic message of the beginning. Yeah, let's try to swim away. And he still hit me, but it didn't do an awful amount of damage. So when he already exploded, there is no harm in just getting out the sulfur, the cave sulfur. To be honest, I think at all I just need like 5 of them at all, in the entirety of the playthrough. And look at all those limestone and so forth. With the gravity trap... Oh god, where is he? Yeah, I just dodged him, basically, by swimming away. Normally swimming is not fast enough to dodge them every time, but I went around the corner, basically, and he exploded before that. I think this is a, well, very interesting approach to make the gameplay a bit more, well, increases your heart beating, to be honest. And now I want to get out of the cave to top off my oxygen soon. But you can see how much longer I can stay in this cave and collect all the resources without going back to the surface. So it really saves you time. It literally saves you time. And got another one, 2 of them. Ah! Those things, man. They are annoying when you try to collect stuff. Yeah, a basic rule is the deeper you go, the more hostile the environment gets. But also on the surface, if you go into certain areas, there can be some nasty stuff. But as you can see later on in the gameplay, there are some things that are just nice. And this is nice for a change within this game. If everything would be toxic and dangerous and wants to chew on you, it wouldn't be that nice. God, those things are annoying. Yeah, another thing is it's easy to lose orientation, especially within a cave. If you don't pay attention, you die. Now, what happens if you die? Basically, you spawn or you respawn in the area that you left before that you could do an automatic save in, for example, the life pod, later on also your base that you built, or also the Cyclops, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, also in the Cyclops. The big issue here is that you also have just one save slot per playthrough, and that, if you don't think about it, sometimes you can waste literally hours of gameplay, and that is an issue. So now I'm actually getting some bleach.
Bleach is an essential chemical used for cleaning wounds and purifying water.
So I created 2 of the bleaches, or the bleach bottles, so to speak. And let's see what we can do with it. Just in a moment. I'm just looking up stuff. Yeah, this is the other source of water.
Preparing the day's water ration ahead of time will help ensure against dehydration and eventual death.
Yeah, very helpful. Thank you, PDA. And they just provide you with more water. So the filtered water is from the bladderfish, and you just get 1 per bladderfish, but you get 2 of the better water, so to speak, which gives you plus 30 per bottle, and you get 2 of them per effort. So to get a stock of this water is always helpful, and you don't have to return. Also, you need much more water than you need food. Again, clearing my inventory, getting rid of sulfur and so forth. Silver is now something that I really need to come by. Where to get your hands on silver is usually within caves, if at all. Here on the surface, it's really rare. And again, the deeper you go, the more you get your hands on. And I need to still get my hands on the blueprints for the sea moth and the sea glide beforehand. So I'm just looking around, collecting stuff, and at this point in time I do not really have a plan, because in every playthrough you spawn in a different location, and it seems like also a little bit of the resources are distributed a bit randomish, which is good for a change. But for planning, it makes it a bit difficult. So especially the gravity trap is a highly underrated piece of equipment, and if I could get my hands on this, I could collect resources at an astonishing rate. And this is also a very critical point here. Getting near wrecks. And getting near wrecks ensures you to get across some blueprints much more consistently. Those containers, if they're open, usually some blueprints are within there. This is one of the rare cases where there is nothing. Hold on, there we have the gravity trap fragment. Let's see how many I need. Okay, I need 2 of them. And there is a beacon fragment, which is also very important to make yourself some points of interest, that you, for example, know, okay, there is a wreck, but I can't cut it open because I don't have access to the laser cutter, for instance. And yeah, then there is also this brain coral that actually releases oxygen, and you can top off your oxygen underwater with this. So I'm using it here for a bit of demonstration, and on we go with the exploration. And you can see it's now turning night. Now usually I like the night for the visuals because stuff is glowing and
Continued degradation of the Aurora's drive core may result in a quantum detonation. Continuing to monitor.
okay, that's not nice to know or to receive as news, because it seems like the core drive of the Aurora got damaged, and yeah, seems to make trouble in the future. And again, we're trying to explore stuff, going around. We have some resources with us to stay longer in the water, in the shape of food and water. Water again is more important than food. And there I just overlooked a fragment. Trash can, we can scan a trash can. One of the stalkers tried to attack me, but they're a bit lazy. And now we have the sea glide and the gravity trap fragment.
New blueprint acquired.
This is highly important. Now I'm scanning the stalker when he's not in attack mode, I guess. This is just knowing your stuff along the way. And at this point in time, I've got everything that I need. Collecting some salt. Yeah, mobile vehicle bay. This is also very important. Another salt deposit. So yeah, this area is interesting for me, because I just collected very, very essential parts to go on from there on. So I didn't actually go to the other life pod. Little spoiler alert, you never meet a person there, dead or alive, period. And they're all chewed open like a tin can. So I'm not quite sure what happened to those guys. So let's go back to the life pod and let's just try to get our hands on some of the essential parts, like the sea glide and the gravity trap. So back at the survival pod, or the life pod, I'm looking up the stuff that I need for the sea glide, which is important, of course. And I need a battery. Again, medical first aid kit. So far I have not needed them. I need some copper, I need some acid mushrooms. 1 copper, 2 acid mushrooms, and I can make a battery. And those batteries have a certain lifespan or amount of energy in them, and after that they are empty, but you can refill them. So I made a bit of a stuff. First of all, I'm using here the stuff to produce the gravity trap, and we'll just see in a moment how good it is. So I need lubricant, and this is something that you get by within the kelp forest. So let's have a look around, and I think I make a cut here as well. And yeah, let's collect some of the Creepvine seed clusters. Now, I'm not really that much of a base builder early on. I want to get some gear, and it took me a bit too long in this playthrough to come across it. again, one of the issues is that I get so often sidetracked, which is a shame. So I collected a bit of salt beforehand, and yeah. Did I scan that already? Yeah, it's empty. So if you scan something, it vanishes. And if you just scan something very often... Oh, there we can see the gravity trap. Oh, that's not good. Some of the yellow stuff got attracted as well. For me, that would be certain death, but it seems like the fish are immune. So instead of waiting for it, I just go here back into the life pod and fabricate some lubricant.
Lubricant is essential in construction of vehicles and power plants.
Yeah, there you got the explanation. So I actually collected a bit too much of it. Now again a bit of bleach for some water, because you never have enough of this stuff. Later on you can also scan a filtering machine that produces salt and water, and that water is then plus 50, so you just need a few bottles. So you can see you get improved gear, you get better gear, you get automatic stuff and so forth. Now you can see it attracts fish, which I can now use to again cure or just cook. Yeah, now I scan them. So you not need just to catch the fish, you need also to scan fish. Despite having it scanned beforehand, it's now a newly discovered life form. So yeah, let's see how it goes.
It is common for those accustomed to synthetic foods to be repulsed by eating an animal carcass. Remember that humans survived this way for millennia. You can too.
Oh, very helpful. I would have never known. So yeah, again producing some water as I go along. So a base also helps you to just not have those long ways.
The Sea Glide will increase your effective exploration range. For your safety, please pack supplies for long journeys and stay within 5 kilometers of the nearest life pod or habitat.
Little spoiler alert, I don't think that the maps are actually that the one map that you're on, or the world, is actually that big in a radius around your life pod. But that's not an issue, because I say radius, so it's not just a circle, it's also going deep. I'm not telling you how deep, this will be something for later stories, but now we are ready for some really neat harvesting. Yeah, let's assign a key to it, number 1, and let's see what I'm doing here. Am I collecting stuff again? Now I'm dumping stuff out of here that I don't need. Everything. Yeah, so this should be it. Drinking some water, and let's see. Now I'm using it. No, I'm not. Now I'm using it. Come on. And you can see how much faster I am. And again, there is another Sea Glide fragment in the shallow that I didn't see. I scanned it, and now I got some free titanium for it. So let's see how it goes. And there we go. Now you can see we are much faster. We can reach much deeper, and with the supply of oxygen that we have, but you can see we have limited power, and for that we need to actually then later on get some batteries. But you can actually swim quite some distance with this without ever recharging the batteries, or before you need to exchange the batteries. So here the game actually needs a bit of a time to load in the new area, it seems, and we get a new message. So you can see here the signal location right in the middle of the screen, right, this blue thing. Yeah, and this is now where another life pod is, and let's just end it by going there, and then I will end the video, and we will see how it goes. Oh, I already have been here, it seems like, or this is just an empty crate. Just a few meters to go, and there is always new stuff to scan. That's the mobile vehicle bay. That's 2 out of 3, and this is 3 out of 3.
New blueprint acquired.
Yeah, that's important. And then we got a PDA.
Integrating new PDA data. New blueprint acquired.
Yeah, those data boxes are very, very precious because you get full, complete blueprints out of them. They are mostly there in those wrecks or near some bigger wrecks or parts of the Aurora or of another ship. And yeah, I'm just scanning stuff here. Seaglide fragment and another bit of titanium. So that's it for today. It has already been 14 minutes of gameplay again, and I will end the video. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this playthrough. It's a longer videos. I think for long videos Subnautica is a bit relaxing, so that you just sit down and relax, and there we can see what this thing can do to scan stuff. And oh look, this hoverfish looks a bit green.
Integrating new PDA data.
Then this hoopfish, again scanned, and I can also attract a lot of the limestone, metal salvage and so forth. And I'm just scanning around. So finally, let's end the video. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Please don't get sidetracked as I do, and we'll see each other in the next playthrough of Subnautica. Ah, this is fun.